I was going to join the civil defense with Gabe and the boys from the gang, but Mom caught me before I could sneak out. Damn it. We were going to show the Krauts. She dragged me over to the piers at Birkenhead and onto a merchant ship, Betty or something. It was an old rotten pot and no mistake, smelled like fish and whatnot. It was pissing when we made it out into the open sea, and they didn't let me stay in our cabin or something either. Told me I had to earn my keep, which usually meant cleaning. Scrubbing a deck, the plates, the loos, what have you. Bloody pirates, a lot of them. If I had that flip knife Gabe promised me, I'd have shown them too. We made it south, and after how many weeks I lost count, we ended up in some podunk on some island out of nowhere. First mate said some famous Neapolitan bloke died here. I didn't see any Italians, just huge crowds from the home islands, all milling about, getting on and off ships. I managed to nick a few wallets while they were watching. Took forever to sail on from there, and now we're in what Mum says is India. She calls it a colony, and I can see why. It's bloody hot, and the whole port stinks like you wouldn't believe. It's full of folks from back home who look like they've been through some crap and then some. Mum says we're staying here, that it's the last refuge of socialist liberty or some crank she usually spews. I just wish Gabe was here. He's probably kicking kraut ass over in Dover by now and getting his name on a statue or something. Being 15 sucks. As soon as we find a place to stay, I'll take a gander and see if I can nick some more purses and maybe find a recruitment office. The crew said some kraut named Paul would be attacking here soon, so maybe there's some glory left for me after all, and I can brag about to Gabe and the boys over a pint when it's all said and done. March 1942 is about to bring spring to the Eastern Front, and that means snow will turn into mud. So before that happens, we are going to clear up as much of the front lines as we can. But the overall strategic objective is for the two army groups in the east to complete the encirclement and destruction of the large center part of the Russian front lines, and then they will split up, and we will potentially cause some more havoc in the south. Meanwhile, Ukraine is retaking Crimea and is at the gates of Sevastopol at this point. We do have some cleanup to do against the Canadians. So far, the rest of the Entente has not joined Canada yet in the war against us, but it's only a matter of time, so we're poised to clean up France and retake the enemy positions in the south that Spain has negotiated out. And we do need to divert some of the Marine divisions to take the Faroe Islands, which currently are a haven for Canadian control in the Atlantic, which of course we cannot tolerate. Talking about the Navy, we do need to start challenging the Americans a little bit, because right now our submarines are not particularly effective in taking on enemy shipping due to increased Canadian-American dominance in the Western Atlantic. Which means we are probably going to move the submarines out of that area for now. And we are going to shift production instead from the type 10 to the Type 9A submarines. So, sorry, the other way around. From the Type 9As to the Type 10s. The Type 9As are radar submarines, so they are working better in uncontested areas, whereas the Type 10s are stealth submarines equipped with snorkels. So they should be capable of being more survivable in contested waters. So we will see how many submarine production lines we currently got going. I think just one, so let's finish that up. And then we are going to get the Type 10 submarines under the Schicherwerke underway. And that is going to just come in here. Okay. We're still waiting for another one of the Zerstörer 1942 models to go into production. But part of the production facilities are still in refitting. So there's still a couple of refits happening right now. We're still building the Thunder class, although we do have, I think, at this point, a relatively good amount of forces going. However, the convoy efficiency is still too low. We still need more of them. So we'll start increasing the size of the ships in these Geleitgruppen, but we'll get to that eventually. On other front lines, I think the other more important one is in India, where we are tempting, at least, to move into Indian territory and to take the first important seaport in East Bengal. This would be the the crowd named Paul who is coming in, and China is doing relatively well in Japan. So much for the overview. Let's get back to business. We'll start with the Syndicalist Indian front, where we do have some infantry divisions in place to support a Burmese attack on the positions north of Chittagong, where we are trying to break strong Indian defenses. So let's assist with that particular assault here, and see if we can manage to push out the enemy divisions. But it looks like, despite the fact that the Indians are relatively well entrenched, they are exhausted, and they are going to potentially break at this stage, which is what we want. We do have an infantry division in the north which can support this assault. However, politically, the Commune of France, not the Commune of France, the French Republic has just joined the war. So we are now at war with the French Republic, the Australasian Confederation, and the legation cities as well. So it's just the Kingdom of Spain which is still out, and a couple of others have been defeated. But everything except for Spain, which means that we can now get the Third Army, which has temporarily been assigned to Heeresgruppe West, to retake Bordeaux and put an end to this French nonsense once and for all, and leave the German somewhat suspicious decisions of the German diplomatic corps to acquiesce to Spanish demands. No further option. After that, we will move into Spain. Talking about Spain, we are going to need mountain divisions here. So right now, the mountain troops are relocating towards the Icelandic border. But once that is finished, we do have 3 mountain divisions already from the 8th Army under General Fuchs, which we can already position along the front lines to begin planning an incursion into Spain. So they can have something to do. But in the meantime, we have many fronts that we need to worry about. So we will start with the incursion towards Bordeaux. And we will literally just give the troops their marching orders here, retake all the enemy territory. I don't know if there's going to be any resistance. I haven't seen any French troops on the lines at this point. In the east, we do have French troops. So the von Kleist's First Army will get involved here. So we'll start by moving the northern divisions into position. And then I think we probably have enough troops ready to start launching an attack here, especially around the south. So let's get these troops to begin an attack towards the coast, and we will leave some guarding divisions in the coast on the coast as well. So the first clashes between German troops and the Imperial French troops. It looks like we've positioned the assault divisions on the wrong line here. So I am going to move the. We can't get to Toulouse yet. We have to retake the railway first. Okay, it looks like the Bordeaux front was completely undefended, but the French currently offer, well, almost no resistance. So we'll take these territories, and then we will reallocate as we see fit. So the Entente troops are very weak, under-equipped, and I don't even think we need any air support. They do have a few planes up themselves, so we currently don't have air wings out here because they're all engaged on the eastern front. Let's see if we can reconstitute one on the quick. We can use the Focke-Wulfs if we need to. Do we have anything else, however, that we can use? A couple of Condors, Dorniers, but nothing. I've got a couple of Bf-110s we can use. And we've got an air wing of Bf-109s. That'll do. And then probably we'll just grab 100 of the carrier airframes. create 3 air wings, and they are going to going to clear the air over southern France, and we're probably better off to just move them to Lyon once they are created. They just need to be deployed first, and then we'll move them in. But it looks like not much going on with the Entente, which means we can hop back to the Eastern Front, where we have to clear up the encircled divisions here. So let's make that happen. There should be a few tank divisions around, and a few of Guderian's tank divisions around here as well. So I think we will have sufficient troops to launch assaults here. And the 17 cm Kanone Modell 40 in Mörserlafette is finished. That is the 170 mm cannon Model 40 in a mortar tray or sled, if you want. So that means we are going to need to change some things around. But first, we'll give all the assault assignments here and make sure that all the troops are participating in the destruction of 10 Russian divisions here. First of all, what are we going to research next? This unlocks not just that, but also the improved medium cannon. So we can build better tanks. Anti-air upgrades are just generally doing air attack upgrades, which is not something we essentially need right now. I am more tempted to get the Maschinenkarabiner Modell 42, the assault rifle, to go. And we also have some infantry tech that needs researching. And we have the Sonderkampffahrzeug 251, the special motorized vehicle or powered vehicle 251 that needs doing. Rifles first. Okay, we'll do the rifles first. That'll go under Mauser. And do we have... let me quickly check if we have, because we have a bit of political power, if we have any upgrades in the MIOs that need doing. We in fact do. Focke-Wulf can get a policy selected, so let's see what there are, because there are a couple of special ones. We can do perfect finish for plus 5% speed for another 5% production cost. This is the research bonus. Agility plus 5, production output cost minus 5%. Production output cost. That's a weird phrasing, not sure what they mean by that. Funds gain, this is resource need, reliability, and research bonus again. I am thinking 5% agility for Focke-Wulf is a good one. So wind tunnel pioneers it is, and that should automatically apply, I hope. Dornier can get a policy, and for that we can get we can get production efficiency cap out of that. That's pretty neat. I am a fan of that, to just make more of them, or 5% gain and cap. But I think I'm liking the heavy gantry cranes for plus 10% efficiency cap flat out. That is a good one. We'll take that as well. And then we have the Gotha Waggonfabrik, and they can do the same thing. So yeah, we'll do that here too. We could just have enough. Okay, that's the military industrial organizations done. Then we need to shift production, because we have the artillery. There it is. The 15 centimeter schwere Feldhaubitze is going to be replaced by the 17 centimeter cannon. And obviously Rheinmetall is assigned here as an MIO, so we'll do that. And we are currently just boring out old barrels to create these new guns for 12.5 a day. Do we have a deficit? Somebody mentioned that we have a deficit in artillery. We do not. We have 4,800 artillery pieces in stockpile. We have more than enough, so we can perfectly well just use the refits for an increased rate of production, and just do it that way. So that is always a good thing. We've got a couple of older airframes of the Junkers and a couple of Dorniers. It's mostly Junkers, so let's refit those. And once these are through, then that'll be done. Okay. In Otherwise, in Russia, in the northern front, we're waiting for we're waiting for Guderian to finish off securing Chernihiv and the front lines here. And once the Russian forces there are defeated, then we can move on again. I have redeployed some aircraft to, where are they? There they are, to Lapland, because I think we can try to, after all these years, give von Mackensen something to do. Let's see if with air support he can push through towards Kemi. This is just worth a try. We will see. It is a very difficult assault of a river crossing. We are getting air support coming in, but I think despite the fact that the troops are newly modernized, I think it is going to be difficult to break these positions across the river lines here, and everybody's joining the wars. I don't think we can make it through even with air support. Yeah, we're barely doing a scratch into the Russian defenses, so I think that is not going to happen. So instead, we will probably redeploy to... Oh, the Dutch have landed. Oh, that is good. That means we can redeploy... once they take a port, we can redeploy south. So let's return to Luleå, and we're going to remove that fallback line. Let's return to Luleå, and from there we can join the Dutch invasion, who are now bicycling through Finland. The Dutch leading the charge here, really. I thought their naval invasion was failing against Vasa, but it could be that they've landed troops on the sidelines there. We do have naval battles that we need to keep an eye on. It looks like one of our battle groups has taken down 9 French destroyers and 4 French convoys. Yes, now we are looking at the Imperial French Navy. Let's see how much of a navy they actually have. What do we know? We know very little about their navy, but they have somewhere around 2 to 4 battleships around. Everything else is more or less small fry. So. What do we currently... Albania has joined the Reichspakt. We have the first Schlachtgeschwader, which is currently hunting and sailing out of Iceland and intercepting a French force a Canadian force of destroyers. That is a little bit out of ways for them, so I'm not sure they can actually make it there. But we've got the third, which is currently returning to their port in Poitou to be a much more effective way of doing this. And we are still sinking Indian transports in the Indian Ocean, but the submarine operations have been less than successful due to enemy convoy action. All right, so with the retreat of Mackensen, we no longer need the close air support in Lapland. However, we can potentially support the landings in Finland. So let's do that. And as soon as the Dutch are managing to capture a port, then we're going to resupply them with von Mackensen's experienced troops and make a difference there. Meanwhile, the encircled Russian divisions near Chernihiv are about to be destroyed. They have no way out, and that then frees up Guderian's tanks for a push north to join with von Kluge's group. We just don't want to make any moves before everybody is ready. Another naval battle, and we have hunted some submarines, but not managed to take them out. This is the German East Asian task force, not ours. So in Asia, since we're here, we are moving in. So with difficulty. Paulus's assault divisions are pushing into the foothills north of Chittagong, and I hope I pronounced that correctly. I have not looked at that at all. And in France, we have pushed the French back to towards Montpellier, and we are clearing out the last remaining positions near Bordeaux, which are completely undefended. So as soon as Spain soon as Spain joins the war, then things will be looking very different. But yeah, the Imperial French forces, having brought camels from North Africa, which turn out to be singularly unsuited towards urban warfare in Montpellier, as the French found out the hard way. Cuba is Havana is holding against is still holding against the American invasion, but I think that's about all that they're holding. So retaking Cuba at some point will become an issue, but right now not so much. And we've got friendly submarines operating off the east coast, but yeah, submarine operations difficult over there. So once we'll leave the submarines in place for now, but once the Type 10 submarines are starting to come in, then we'll start shifting things around a little bit. And in the meantime, let's see. So France is clearing out, and then we'll see what we do with the troop there next. But the Russian positions are clearing out as well, and that's the southern flank defeated. That means the remaining troops are encircled, which means that there is absolutely nowhere for them to go, and that is 10 Russian divisions that will be destroyed and rendered combat ineffective one way or another. So in the European theater, that was a total of around about 100,000 Russian troops that have surrendered, and the Ukrainians are getting pushed out of Crimea again. That's their own war. We'll let them deal with that. But now the next strategic objective is to get Guderian's panzer divisions set up for the push north to join with von Kluge's divisions, and the ground is starting to slowly clear up. So the road to Moscow is potentially open once we have secured the flanks here. On the economic front, let's see if we can secure cheap oil somewhere. I think trading with Iran for oil is actually less than desirable. Azerbaijan is giving us the same deals, but I think Scotland has cheap oil that we can get. Yes, it does. Anybody else? I think not so much. England has some cheap oil as well, so let's get that. And the French have very little oil. So we get some from England, we get some from Scotland, and I think with that we have an overall improved intake of oil. Okay, so how is the invasion force planning for the invasion of the Faroe Islands? The Unternehmen Scholle, Operation Flatfish, 22 days still. The mountaineers are moving into place. Do I have enough? No, I don't. We do need to get the special forces trees a little unlocked here. I do have enough for a marine one, but not for the mountaineers just yet. But we definitely need to get the special forces trees a little bit expanded. Unfortunately, the army XP is very short, but I do have some naval experience I can use to elevate the Marine Corps. So let's do that, which unlocks pioneers, which I haven't used. We'll have to look into that in a minute. But increased naval capacity and increased soft attack organization, all very good. So let me look into these pioneers. So by default we have the engineers, which give some relatively decent movement and defense and sometimes attack bonuses in various areas. So the important ones for the Marines would be amphibious landing. So that gives us 15% from the engineers on attack. On river crossings we get a defense bonus, and we do get an attack bonus, I think, but just from the flame tanks. Yes. So if we were to switch these out into pioneers, which would give us more breakthrough, less entrenchment, then we would be getting an attack bonus on rivers and a defense bonus, and and no attack bonus on amphibians. So pioneers are better for river crossings, but not so good for amphibious landings. So more specialized. I think I'm happy with the engineer company here to do that because we are using the Marine division for naval landings quite a fair bit as well. We do have to, once the next naval research, once that completes, I think the next one we need to do is the landing craft. That gives us floating harbors, which is really powerful, and it also reduces the amount of preparation time we take for naval invasions, which is rather lengthy at this point. Do we have any operations that we can prepare? Right now, I think pretty much everybody is involved just building up intelligence, except for Josef Schmidt. So let's see where we can deploy him. I think I would like to have 2 in the States. He can't really join India. He can probably just join the Russian lines and start building up intelligence in the rear. Have the Dutch taken the port? They have not yet. Okay, so we'll get to that. Mackenson's troops are moving off here and to replenish their stores, and we need to realign Guderian. All right, Guderian's tanks are going to assemble south of Starodub and getting ready to meet von Kluge's army in the north, encircle the last remnants of the Russian defensive lines in the center. And the Marines are going to move south, and in order to to cross the river, break through weakened Russian lines, and potentially just start some havoc in the south, while they are not needed for any more river crossings in the north. The other thing, and yes, we still need to do that. Tank. We have the Sturmpanzerkampfwagen 4. And why are we still having the Flammpanzer 3? That is the commissioned. Sturmpanzerkampfwagen 4 needs to be upgraded. And for that, although we were saving up army XP for creating the floating tank, so maybe we'll wait for that first, just so we can get that production going. We are running a little low on fuel, so we might have to trade for a bit more oil. See where we can still get. We might get a little bit out of Iran, but Iranian oil is very expensive, so let's try not to overdo it. And with that, we're getting back to let's see what von Paulus is doing. We have not yet broken through in the north. The Indians have counterattacked, so we are once again trying to secure the position north here of Chittagong, but we might actually have to pin the defenders here as well. So let's make sure the defending positions are pinned, and all the northern divisions are on the attack here. So we've got the 2nd and 3rd Infantry pushing in the south. We do have a naval battle of the Iberian coast. We have to take a look where Redes Group has found a Canadian destroyer escort, and so far we've sunk 6 French transports, but these destroyers are not going to get away. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, and 12 Canadian destroyers now being engaged by the screening forces. They were hunting our submarines, but Redes troops are in the area and are cleaning house here while we are sinking French transports. So back to the battle in the north here, where we are still trying to retake these positions in the north here. All troops are relatively exhausted at this point, and the holding action in the south cannot continue for much longer either. Despite the fact that we do have the reliable flame tanks with us, but the troops are getting increasingly exhausted, and with a somewhat last-ditch effort, I think we are managing to push Indian troops out in the north of their positions there. But it is hard going. How's the air situation? We don't actually have much in the air. I think we've got mostly fighter wings actually in the air here. So we might need some more bomber wings. Bombers are in short supply everywhere, and that is a somewhat uneven battle here. But yeah, we have relatively few bombers available. So the troops on the ground kind of have to make do with what aerial support they can get. And while the pinning assault in the south is faltering, they are almost through in the north. So the question is going to be: can they support this, and can they hold this position after taking it? Let me see if I can shorten the lines here sufficiently to make sure that we are only pushing north here. Okay, so the pinning assault in the south has faltered, but we are now reinforcing the northern position near Chittagong, and we will let the assault infantry dig in and see if we can manage to hold that against vicious Indian counterattacks. So immediately heavy counterattacks. This should be, yes, at the loss of 1 destroyer, we have sunk 12 Canadian destroyers and 11 French transports. And we're already hunting more of the transport groups. And we've lost a submarine against a Canadian escort group. The Western Atlantic is still hotly contested, but everything else we control much better. So if they come anywhere nearer, the Dutch have not managed to take the ports of Vaasa, so Mackensen cannot reinforce them. We'll have to wait for them to eventually take the port. And hot battles going on in India right now. So we'll see if we can send some German reinforcements in, just to hold the lines as much as possible. Improved tank engine is done. And that means what should we do next? I think Engineers 3 is probably a good move. That one, or what else do we have? We do need to improve the radar quite a bit as well, and we do actually have dispersed and the streamlined line, I think, or either of these two. Many things that need researching. How about air? We're still too far away from those. I did say the next naval one was going towards the improved landing craft. So here we can probably get that going on the Sonderkraftfahrzeug 251. Yeah, let's research that. And I think Opel might be ready for a... where's Opel? Might be ready... It's here. Probably. There it is. Might be ready for a... No, they already have Mechanical Genius. Okay, so Indian front, hotly contested. Paulus's troops are trying to defeat vicious Indian counterattacks, with some support being brought in from the south. But I think we can, with the reinforcements, not through there, with the reinforcements potentially coming in from other directions, we should be able to hold that. Okay, how is the French situation? Things are very active here. Okay, Bordeaux has fallen. Everything is now under French control, as it should be, which means we can potentially use the Model's Third Army for an invasion of Spain, which I think is a good, once the mountaineers have cleared the path, although Spain is mostly mountainous terrain, but I think the Third Army would be a powerful asset in breaking Spain. How strong are the Spanish? We don't know an awful lot about them, so I think leaving Model's Third Army in Spain is probably a good move. So we will focus that in more on the Eastern Front here. And your first goals would be to push all the way to Zaragoza and take the positions there. That should leave me with additional divisions eastwards. Didn't we have some divisions that were busy fighting in the east? They might have already gone back to their original tasks. Okay. We should have a railway gun somewhere on this front. There it is. The Otto III. So that will support mountain bombardments for the mountaineer assault once they are in position. And we're just waiting for Spain, really. The Marines. I have 4 divisions assigned. Yeah. Still 2 more weeks. At Mountaineers in the north, I think there are not an awful lot of... There are maybe only a few enemy divisions here. However, we'll make sure we clear out the Icelandic positions, and we've got some Dutch troops now landing in Reykjavik to secure that position as well. The radar groups in the Indian Ocean, meanwhile, are just excessively successful in completely destroying enemy support. And we could also launch a naval invasion out of Ceylon. So I think once the Marines are done on the Russian front with breaking through here, and they are getting into position, then we can redirect them to that flank. Everything else here is relatively stable. We're just holding back Russian counterattacks. But Guderian should be in position now. Yes, Guderian is in position. So Guderian's panzer divisions, we're going to get the eastern part of them to launch the assault north and just break through the lines. And we're going to get 2 tank divisions, the 5th and the 8th, to support this, but then to secure the breakthrough. And at the same time, we are going to get von Kluge's tanks to start pushing along the northern flank and to clear out Russian positions there with support from the infantry. And with that, I think, these battles are over very, very quickly. I think the Russians have nothing to stand against the German tanks breaking through their positions there. We had an interesting battle here of one of the convoy escorts, of our convoy escorts being engaged by some Canadian shipping, but other than that, mostly just enemy convoys sunk. Haven't seen any major Canadian forces just yet, but given that we are now at war with France, the other thing we can do here is we can launch Höppner's Middle Africa expedition with the foreign troops here, and see if we can make a break through here and see if we can reach the enemy position. We can thin out the enemy positions here, and clear out. We'll pin them in the north and make sure they don't escape, and see if we can clear out some enemy troops here, encircle the Imperial French troops, and deal with that. Another naval battle off the Iberian coast. We are hunting the Canadian escort groups or small groups. So again, we've got 10 destroyers. They will not be getting away, so that'll be done relatively quickly. And we've lost another submarine in the Central Atlantic Gap. So they are pushing harder now as well in the south here, where we are still sinking submarines, but enemy groups are active, which means we probably want to get the first Schlachtgeschwader, which is currently engaging. The first Schlachtgeschwader is not necessary to engage. We've already got this. We've already got the third fighting this, but we will probably move them further south, probably towards Morocco. Although Morocco looks like it's already, we might need to build up the naval base there a little bit. Let's get the Casablanca naval base. Let's get the Casablanca naval base improved. Prioritize that and get that done. just to start projecting some naval power in the south here. Meanwhile, we are breaking through the desert here, and we do need to keep an eye on all the other territories as well, so it's a little slow going. Eastern front, Guderian's tanks are rushing ahead, infantry is catching up, so it looks like we will once again be able to encircle the Russian divisions here before they have any chance of defending this. Small Russian counterattacks easily defeated, but the tanks are rushing in, and we can use some infantry to ensure that none of the defenders in the north actually manage to escape. If we can get there before them. So tanks are rolling in, and that's just more wars joined. And it looks like we are about to create yet another cauldron. The last Russian defenders being pushed, and we need to close the gap here in the north. So all tanks moving in, but I think we have sufficiently created yet another encirclement through rapid movement of German tanks through the melting snow along the Russian front, and we have caught, what is this, 10, 14, 16 enemy divisions. The infantry can clear that up, and we will focus first on the destruction of these Russian forces and of the their final battle near Homel. And I think we've got enough tank divisions to assist here that this should be defeated relatively soon. Meanwhile, in Asia, we have held the northern position, but with difficulty. And how are we on supply? We are at the supply base is overloaded here at this point, so we might need to improve the railway connection from Rangoon. So let's make that happen, and that should allow us to bring in more here, and that needs to be prioritized as well. Okay, construction prioritized. We are still poised to assaulting this from two sides. So I think that's what we're going to be attempting next. We will be concentrating the elite infantry divisions along the lines here, and we'll extend that there. Okay, in order to launch another assault at the port. Unfortunately, we can't easily encircle it because we are at the edge of our supply lines. So vicious naval battles meanwhile going on, where we are engaging. Let's see who we are engaging everywhere. There should have been, this one has been successful. 9 Canadian destroyers sunk for the loss of 1 dive bomber. And 4 convoys, despite the fact that they were escorted. So now the first Schlachtgeschwader can redeploy. We'll send them to Casablanca, and they can operate and project the force along the African coast, while we are pushing through in Africa. I think we can take the airport and then just keep moving on from there. But how are we on supply? Not great. This looks like a port, but it doesn't seem to be a supply position by itself. So supply has to come out of Tripoli. But we do need to obviously use trucks across the desert as much as we can. That improves the position a little bit. And here the idea is we'll leave 2 divisions behind, 5 divisions to move around, encircle the guarding French division in the north, and destroy it as we go. In Asia, troops moving into position. In Russia, we are working on the destruction of the encircled desperate Russian divisions here. There is not an awful lot of recourse for them. It's surrender and into a prison camp, or die on the fields. Really, these are the only options that they have. Another naval combat. Lost a convoy here. Okay, that wasn't even ours. But lots of convoy actions now. Now that we are taking on the trade of the Entente as well. And in fact, we should be able to launch an assault towards Port Moresby. We'll do that in a minute. Right now it's just relatively chaotic. So too many battles going on already. All right, let's finish up the Russian encirclement here and make sure that none of these troops get back. The northern flank is collapsing. They're still holding against the diversionary assault along the river line, but that is going to end very, very quickly. A desperate counterattack from the Russians. 2 Russian divisions trying to push out, but right now they are so cut off from their front lines that there is really no recourse for them anywhere, which means the southern divisions are about to get completely encircled from all directions. We are still pushing them in the north. We're waiting for the counterattack to be defeated. Then we will launch the assault on the north and then finish off the rest of the divisions in the south here. Yes, we do have some research to look into. Yes, more research to look into. I just want to finish off the encirclement here, and then we can conclude with that. So assault in the north is complete. Russian divisions in the south are completely encircled. 6 divisions are still trickling in, trying to get through the lines. Canada declares war on Costa Rica, and we are about to finish off the last encircled Russian divisions, and there they go. Hamel has fallen, the Russians have surrendered, and that was another. This was 165,000 Russian troops that have given up. Ukraine is getting restored. We have some more territory to liberate before we get into Russia proper. But we are in. I think now that the snow has melted, relatively unstoppable on the open ground. The tanks are going to be moving forward. Let's conclude with tidying up some of the research things. So I did say landing craft was necessary, so let's get that going. And I think the last one we had was on engineering. We are going to start supporting atomic research because the documents we found recently have given our scientists pause that the French and potentially the Entente as well may have been up to something very, very scary. So even if Germany is not intending to use anything of these kind of new potential Wunderwaffen, we might definitely need to be in a position to do so if our enemies decide that it is time. So let's begin atomic research. And the Baltic Duchy wants to join. No, you just fight where you currently are. You've got enough to do. So, overlooking that, we also had completed, I think, we've got a couple more ace pilots. We've got 45 experience. What we can do is finally complete the Mittelland Canal, which is going to give us some building slots. So that's something we can do. Let's have a quick review of the naval battle. Battle of the Atlantic is definitely heating up at this point. So we are sinking convoys, despite the fact that they are being escorted. Not all of them are. So the submarines are doing reasonably well. Even under enemy threat, and we are taking down the enemy convoy escorts as well as soon as they show up on the African coast. So we might have to expand. Yeah, lots of convoys being sunk. Oh, there's a Canadian battle group. This is why I'm reviewing this. So off the coast of Brazil, we have seen a Canadian battle group. A carrier, 2 battle cruisers, 5 light cruisers, 2 dreadnoughts, and 27 destroyers. So we've done some damage to enemy convoys, but other than that, the submarines had to retreat, which means the Cape Verde Plain is where the Canadians are operating, which means we are going to shift our going to shift our focus from the Northern Atlantic more into the Central Atlantic, Mid-Atlantic Gap, Central Atlantic Gap, African coast, and Cape Verde Plain, and potentially also the southern ports. So with that, we have moved the first Schlachtgeschwader towards Casablanca, and the second is docked in La Rochelle. That should give them a good coverage of the northern areas. We'll just include I think the approaches are reasonably safe at this point. We don't necessarily need to fight there. But the entrance to the Mediterranean is still very much contested. So as such, I think we can start hunting this Canadian group, and potentially also hunting American groups if they are coming out this far. There's another Canadian group that is currently engaged. So some of our submarines have reported what is this? This is the same group. So now we know a bit more about that. So it's the Hermes, or Hermes. Depends on which Canadian we're asking. We've got the St. George and the St. David, as well as Indefatigable and Princess Royal and their various escorts. This group should not be a problem. However, we do want to be careful with engaging the Americans at this point, because the Schlachtgeschwader are not quite at full strength just yet. Let's see if we can reinforce the third a little bit. We've currently got 5 capitals for 23, so we can probably up that a little bit. We can send the Gneiss now, and that makes that 6. 6 to 23 is a ratio we can work with. And we've got 8 Thunder class, which means we do need to, and these need to be on convoy escort. Yeah, we need to change the template here. So the Geleitgruppe template needs to be increased to 20. Save composition, and that should get them to automatically reinforce. And the Aufklärungsgruppe, I think, is not necessarily needed in the north anymore at this point. Denmark Strait is somewhat contested, so we might be facing Americans there. But we'll focus south for now. So we'll see if they can spot anything around the African coast, and we can hunt down the Canadians. And lastly, there are some enemy submarines operating in the Mediterranean, but we have encircled and are about to destroy French positions in North Africa, and I think we are moving towards Algiers, which is the French capital, and that should be the end of the Imperial French part of the Entente. We are making progress in the east, and lastly, in Asia, General Paulus might need some reinforcements. What we can do here is we can take some of his regular infantry divisions and that are not otherwise engaged, and convert them into assault infantry, just to make them a little bit more effective. So if we converted these 6 divisions into Sturmdivision, we are short on flame tanks, so we'll do it anyway. But we do need to ramp up the production of flame tanks. I think we are starting to run a bit low here. Flammpanzer, where are they? Flammpanzer, yeah. Let's double that. So we definitely need to increase the amount of Flammpanzer, given that they are being used relatively frequently, and we have nothing in stockpile at this point that we can use. But we are going to get a couple more military factories coming in. Can we build a few more on German territory, or are we built out? I think we are pretty much built out at this point. Even in Denmark, in occupied Denmark. This is, yeah, we've got 2 more. We'll get there. We'll just have to increase production of the everything. And soon we will have new rifles, so that'll need more as well. We might have to reduce the airframe. We can reduce the aircraft production a little bit at some point, because right now the Russian Air Force is mostly defeated, so there's not an awful lot going on there anymore. And we've already dialed down the. I think we have enough. We have enough trucks in stockpile that we can probably reduce this as well. We are building the amphibious tractors, and we've got a fair amount of them at this point. So we probably don't need 15 here. Let's dial it down to 5. And yes, mechanized equipment obviously is going to take the majority of things. Okay, that's the downside of not directly occupying enemy territory. But that said, the friendly countries are doing their part as well. Next episode, we will hopefully see if the Dutch have been defeated in Finland. That is very unfortunate. Okay, so in that case, we do need to send marine divisions to make landfall in Sweden, but probably not in Vasa. I'm more thinking of just going directly across the Baltics to Turku and then pushing towards Helsinki. So let's bring von Mackensen's troops to Stockholm, and we are going to redesignate probably some of the marine divisions once they become available. Do I have some in Hamburg? I might. I have two marine divisions in Hamburg. That may be enough to lead the charge. So right now they are here on training, but we can take these two marine divisions and plan a naval invasion from Stockholm into Turku. We'll bypass the islands, and they can be reinforced by von Mackensen's divisions. So that should all be not a problem. All right, progress, I think, on the grand scale. The Entente is falling very rapidly. Interestingly enough, the Union of Socialist American States has been keeping very quiet and has been very Monroe Doctrine-y about the whole thing. They are fighting the Central American Confederation by the looks of it. So the Third International is still battling it out here, but the Union of Socialist American States has been very quiet, other than the invasion of Cuba, which we are still holding back. Japan seems mostly defeated, and we can start cleanup of the islands here, but we are going to need more marine divisions, and we are going to get some more because naval landings all about, and we are definitely going to have to shift production there as well. All of that coming in the next episode.